Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And we are overflowing with Prokofiev. So let's get right to the latest stack. Prokofiev is like right around there. Right back there, actually. I don't know, can you see it? Can you see where it's opening up back there? Yeah, there's like right over there. Oh, well, there's Prokofiev. Lots and lots of Prokofiev. Trust me. We're going to be doing Prokofiev for a bit, quite a bit, and we're going to be enjoying every minute of it. So here is the Decca Twofer of the Prokofiev symphonies that Ashkenazy did. You've got the Classical Symphony and Autumnal with the London Symphony Orchestra. And then you've got the Overture on Hebrew Themes, which is delightful, with Ashkenazy doing the piano. It's the chamber version. And the Fifth Symphony with the Concertgebouw, which is absolutely forgettable, especially because it doesn't have like a tam-tam part. It needs to be. But very uninteresting. I wonder about conductors. I just do. I guess Ashkenazy lets the orchestra be itself, but there are moments where you ought to say, guys, do this. You got to hear certain things. Anyway. And then we have the good stuff, which is CD2, the really good stuff. His Cleveland Orchestra recordings of Symphonies 6 and 7. They're just slamming. They really are, because you've got Cleveland, which is just an amazing orchestra, no matter who is conducting them. And it's not that Ashkenazy doesn't know the music. I mean, he's a fabulous Prokofiev interpreter, at least on paper. But as a conductor, it's another situation, isn't it? I'm waiting for the big Ashkenazy box to come out, actually, at some point from Decca. Because remember, they did all this Ashkenazy stuff, all devoted to piano and his piano recordings, whether with chamber ensembles or whatever. It would really be interesting to have a big box of his stuff as a conductor. And I suspect that what we would learn is that he was not the kind of guy who was going to impose his will on the orchestra to try and change its corporate identity or sound very much. And he wasn't an enormously compelling podium presence. So he depended on the quality of the orchestra to get him through a lot of this stuff, I think. And I think his Cleveland recordings are going to turn out to be the best ones he did. That's my feeling. I may be wrong. But, my experience is, we did Richard Strauss, and he did these Prokofiev things and other things like that, ballets and whatnot. And they were very, very fine, as long as he was in Cleveland. Elsewhere, he could be variable. His Sibelius with the Philharmonia, fabulous First Symphony, some other things that went less well, and, stuff like that. So we'll wait and see, won't we? He did some great Tchaikovsky, too, with the LSO. Also some really fine things. But anyway, so there's that. Then we've got Prokofiev sonatas with Bernd Glemser, who is a really good pianist. He doesn't get much attention in Russian repertoire, of which he's done quite a bit, because he's not Russian. But, he deserves more attention than that. So we have sonatas 2, 7, and 8. The problem with these recordings really is that everybody will have their own favorites in this music. And those favorites will probably be Russian. And so it's good that Naxos recorded this stuff. It really is, because, it's goodness coming from an unusual quarter. I'm not going to trash my Ashkenazy and Richter and all those things because of Glemser, but I respect him very much. I really do. Then we've got, the Jean Martinon Prokofiev symphonies. Now, here they are in 2 Vox boxes. You also get the suite from Shu, the buffoon, and let's see, the Russian Overture Opus 72 and the Overture on Hebrew Themes. Now, this is with the National Orchestra of the ORTF. Martinon was a fine Prokofiev conductor, basically. And there's some good performances in here, but the sound is not good, and the orchestra is not good. And the dimness of the sonics really, really sort of put a damp towel over the whole proceedings. It's a shame, really. If they were better recorded, or if Martinon had a better orchestra, because with the best will in the world, he wasn't going to turn these folks into fabulous players. This would have been something worth reckoning, so something worth really considering. But as it is, it's just second rate. I have to be honest about it. It's disappointing. It really is, for the most part, I think. Despite good performances, and number 3 is good, 4 is good, number 7 is good, 6, 5, no. What can I say? It's just the way it is. Now we have Cinderella. Cinderella was the Cinderella of the ballets. People didn't really pay much attention to it aside from the suites because Romeo and Juliet was so overwhelmingly popular. But then, of course, the CD boom happened and people sat back and said, wait a minute, Prokofiev wrote full-length ballets like Cinderella and the Stoneflower, and nobody pays attention to them. So instead of doing another Romeo and Juliet, let's do those. Hence, the Pletnev Cinderella. There are some great Cinderellas. This one is very good. I mean, he always conducts this stuff well because it's really basically just, drop the baton and it's rhythmic and it plays itself and he doesn't have to be bizarre and he knows the music very well. The problem is that there are really superb Cinderellas, one with Ashkenazy in Cleveland, actually, which is just as wonderful, wonderfully played. And my favorite one, which is on CPO with, who is it, Mikhail Yurovsky. Really first class with WDR Cologne, really gorgeous sonics, and it's terrific. So this is very good, and you do get Summer Night, the suite, as well, but I really like those other ones better. I'm sorry, but I do. Prokofiev, Symphony number 5 with the Czech Philharmonic and Serge Baudo, and number 6 with the Leningrad Phil and Mravinsky. These are live from 1967 with the Fifth Symphony and 1976, right? I've got it backwards. 67 is the Prokofiev Sixth, which was a good period for Mravinsky and Leningrad. They were in good shape. And the Fifth is 76 in stereo. And, I like Serge Baudo as a conductor, and I like this performance of the Fifth. It's not, again, my favorite. There are some oddities here and there, which we don't need to go into at length. But I'm more interested, frankly, in the things that are not Mravinsky because, you can find his stuff everywhere. Live, it's been pirated and issued and reissued. And, sometimes he was amazing. And he was kind of like Furtwängler. He could be amazing when he was on. Was he always on? No. Was the orchestra always in top form? No. I mean, the sonics were always bad, with the exception of like that Tchaikovsky 4, 5, and 6 on Deutsche Grammophon, where they got him in this under studio conditions. It's always a crapshoot. So yes, it's nice to have, and I enjoy listening to it, but it's not like my favorite anything. Then we've got the Prokofiev cycle with Rostropovich and the Orchestre Nationale de France. Rostropovich knew Prokofiev. Prokofiev wrote his symphony concerto for cello and orchestra for him. I mean, they were friends. And he knows the music really well. You have both versions of Symphony number 4. A very good 5th and 7th. Decent, very well done. I'm missing a disc of this, by the way. I mean, I have it somewhere back there. We'll get to it. But these three somehow managed to stay together when I moved. Then we've got a classical symphony, which is okay, and a 6th, which is a real letdown. It's sluggish. It's somehow muted and muffled and not really very interesting at all, which is a pity. I mean, consider that he spends 45 minutes, Rostropovich does, whereas Mravinsky gets through it in 36. Now, you don't have to be as zippy as Mravinsky often is, but that tells you something. It really does. But I'm glad to have these. They're not going anywhere. They've all been reissued in like a little box somewhere too. I have them somewhere else, somewhere around here. And Symphonies 1 and 5 with Philly and Ormandy. Well, the classical symphony is one of the really great ones. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The 5th is underplayed. The tam-tams are missing as usual. It's good. It's the Philly. It's Ormandy. It's wonderfully played for what it is. I find it just not powerful enough, not raw or edgy. As Karajan was, by the way, which was really kind of exciting. So there you have it. That's this pile of Prokofiev. Keep on listening, friends, and thanks for joining me. Take care.